learners, welcome back to education program online with me, teacher Christine Adekul, taking you in mathematics and mathematics for senior 3 and senior 4. So dear learners, we are still on the same party or branch of algebra, that is binomial expression, and we said that there are two components of binomial expression, that is one, permutation, and then the second one is combination. So combination means the selection of elements from a set without considering the order. Dear learners, when we talk of what we call the combination, we are looking at someone or the act of selecting element from a group, but without considering the order. For example, I may be in a class and I want to get debaters. I can decide to pick X, Y, every time whenever there is a debate competition. I always pick those very people. So it does not mean, it doesn't show the whatever that the order that who was the best speaker or what, or who was the least speaker. So with the combination, that is what we do. You just pick, select without taking into order into consideration. But permutation, the order is a must be what considered. So let us write. You say combination is the selection of elements from a set without considering the order. So learners, this is what a combination is, and I still keep on emphasizing that for those who are taking additional, definitions are examinable. So it will not be a surprise when they ask you define combination. So learners always tend to mix up combination and permutation because they all involves the same almost the same activity, while permutation forming, and then combination means selecting without the order taken into consideration. So the formula for this, the formula for combination, so you say formula for combination, you say combination equals to combination equals to C raised to n base r, which is the same as n factorial over n minus r factorial ratio to r factorial. So dear learners, this is the formula for combination. So you will have in most cases they always use symbols. They will say C raised to n base r equals to this. So work it out. Or they will give you the n and the r, and then they C raised to this number base this number. Where n still remains the number of elements, number of elements to be selected, number of elements. And then we have r will still remain a number of times, an element is to be selected, or an element has been selected. So my dear learners, when you look at the formula of combination and the formula of permutation, you find that there is a relationship between them. And that's why we say bi means two. It combines both combination and permutation. So we shall reach the point where we are going to use both of them at a go, because they possess the common element, which is n and r. What only makes a difference here, with the combination we use C, and with the permutation we use P. That is what creates the difference in them. And then looking at their formula, with the permutation we only get n minus r factorial. But with the combination we have n minus r factorial ratio to r factorial, where that ratio means divide 2. So let us go straight and look at the examples on how do we use this calculate anything in combination. So we look at the example 1. So example 1, says how many different teams, of 7 players can be selected or chosen from 10 girls. 10 girls. So dear learners, look at that question. Remember, in permutation we said can be formed. Are we together? Can be formed. And then within combination they say can be chosen or selected. Because when we are selecting, I will just say X, Y, Z, can you come? But if it is permutation, then I had to follow the order. So you have to follow the order to have a proper arrangement. So now when you look at this equation, they said how many different teams of 7 players can be chosen from 10 girls. So you'll analyze this statement and then you say, once I've seen the word chosen, then I'm going to apply what we call combination, because we have a group of girls, and out of the 10 groups of girls, I'm going to select only 7 from them. Are you getting the point? You are going to select only 7 from the 10. Then now you'll have C raised to n, this r equals to n factorial over n minus r factorial ratio to r factorial. Ratio to r factorial. So this is our formula. So after stating your formula, after you have realized that this question is under combination, you state your formula, and then the next step, identify what is the value of n from your formula and what is the value of r from your formula. Then now you will identify, you know that n is the number and then r is the number of times. That means that out of the 10 girls, you are going to select how many times? 7 times. You select the first girl, you select the second, you select the third, until you come up with the number of 7. So you will have here 10, and then here we are 7. So now from there we can now substitute our formula. So you say C raised to 10 and then base 7 equals to 10 equals to n factorial over n minus r factorial ratio to r factorial. So when we substitute this, we know that n is 10, so we shall have 10 factorial over 10 minus 7 factorial ratio to 7 factorial, because we know that r is 7. And then now here we shall have 10 factorial out of what? 10 minus 7, we get 3 factorial ratio to 7 factorial. Now up to that level, you will now know that if I get any number of a factorial, it means I'm to move that number until I reach where? I reach to the lowest term, which is 1. So we shall now have our 10 factorial out of 3 ratio to 7 factorial. So dear learners, at this level, you are going to start with 7. Move 10 until you get to 7, and then you eliminate 7 because there are 2 factorials here, and then now you remain with the second one. So you shall have 10 by what? By 9, and then by 8, and then by 7 factorial. So it depends. You can move up to 1, and then you also come and move 3 up to 1, and then move 7 up to 1. But remember that in the previous lesson we said it wastes a lot of space and a lot of time. So the shortest form, you can simply get this, and then you say 3 factorial ratio to 7 factorial. Eliminate this. So 7 factorial will cancel off, and then now you remain with the 10 factorial, 10 by 9 by 8 over what? Over 3 factorial. So 3 factorial means 3 by what? By 2 by 1. Then now you begin to cancel it. So you say by 3 will go with the 9 on your numerator. By 3 you get 9 by 3, you get 3. And then here we have 2, we'll go with the 8, which will give us 4. So you are left now with the what? 10 times 3 times 4. Divide by what? Divide by 1, which will give us still the same answer. So this, when you multiply this, we get 10. 10 times 3, we get 30. 30 times 4, we get 120. Divided by 1, we get 120. So we shall have 120 ways. That is what you'll have. So you'll have to take, say, 120 ways of selecting these girls. That is for example 1. For example 1. So let us look at example 2. Example 2. So example 2, this one is very common in your exams. They say, in how many ways can a committee of 4 men? In how many ways can a committee? This is example 2. Say, in how many ways? In how many ways? In how many ways can a committee of 4 men? Can a committee of 4 men? A committee of 4 men a committee of 4 men and 3 female be chosen, and 3 female be chosen from among 7 men, among 7 men and 5 female. Among 7 men and 5 female. 5 female. Question mark. So dear learners, look at that question. The question says, in how many ways can a committee of 4 men and 3 women, 3 female, be chosen from among 7 men and 5 female? So when you analyze that example or that question, you find that it is a combination. It is showing us that there was there are two different groups, but all of them are being combined together. So we have a group of men and a group of female. So for that means even in a class we find that there is a combination of both men, boys and girls. So that's why they say it is automatically telling us it is from a combination side. So now for us to calculate this, then we have to look at it that I will have a group of women and a group of men, or a group of men and a group of female. So I will have a combination of female combination of men, which is C raised to N base R, and this is the same as C, and then we have a combination of female. A combination of female, we also have C raised to N R. Then the question is, what is the value of N and what is the value of M, of value of N and the value of R for men? So we find that if for men we shall have the number is, and then R, how many times were they chosen? So you find that for men there are how many? Look at here, they said form a committee of 4 men were chosen among what? Among 7 men. That means the number of men is 7. And how many were they chosen or selected? They selected only 4 of them. And then we have female. So female, they said 3 female be chosen from among 5 female. That means N for female is there are 5 female, and then they only selected 3 of them. So once you have got that, then you can now be able to substitute here. For men we have 7, and then we have 4, and then here we have 5, and then here we have 3. So now, my dear learners, up to that level, you will now have a combination of what? A combination. In making things well or simple, you will now get a combination of male first, and then get the answer, and then you also work out to the combination of female, and then you will have them together. So we shall now say, therefore, C raised to 7 base 4 is the same as what? 7 factorial over what? Over 7 factorial. Let us have our simple, say n factorial over n minus r factorial ratio to what? Ratio to r factorial. Because I don't want you to get confused, you must follow the formula very well. And then now from here we can now substitute. This is 7 factorial over what? Over 7 minus 4 factorial ratio to 4 factorial. And then now you will get 7 factorial over 7 minus 4, we get 3 factorial. 3 factorial ratio to what? To 4 factorial. So dear learners, up to this we are going to move 7 until we get 4, then we cancel it. So this will give us 7 by 6 by what? By 5, and then by 4 factorial. Divide it by 3 ratio to 4 factorial. So this 4 factorial will cancel with the 4 factorial, and then now you remain with the only 7 by 6 by 5 out of what? Out of 3 by 2 by 1. So please don't rush and cancel 3 with any of these unless you have also moved the 3 to its lowest number, which is 1. So then we begin by 3. Here will cancel, here 3 will go and gives us 2, and then still here we shall have 2, and then here we shall have 1. So you remain with the only 7 times 1 times 5, which will give us 35. So this is for men. You have got us 35, and then now you come to for female. So when we come to female, we have C raised to what? Raised to 5, and then base 3, which is the same as n factorial over n minus r factorial ratio to r factorial. So when we substitute this, we get 5 factorial over 5 minus 3 factorial ratio to 3 factorial. So this will give us 5 factorial over what? Over 5 minus 3 factorial, we get 2 factorial ratio to 3 factorial. So to that level, that is when we are going to move 5 until we reach to 3 factorial. And then now we shall have 5 factorial over 2 factorial ratio to what? Ratio to 3 factorial. So this 5 factorial, we are going to move it to until we reach 3. So we say 5 by 4 and then by 3 factorial. So this is how you get, then you cancel the 3 factorial. So you only remain now with the 5 by what? By 4 over 2 factorial, you move 2 by 1. So that you can now have by 2, 1 by 2, we get 2. So our answer here will be now 5 times what? Times 2, which will give us 10. 10 ways. These are for women. So this is for women. So dear learners, after getting that, you know that this is a combination of a group of boys, a female and male all together. So you will now have your final answer as so you will now have you will come and say therefore we shall have men by what? By female, and then men we have C raised to what? Raised to 7 by 4, and then times C raised to 5 by what? By 3. So we have already simplified the value of the combination of 7, 4, which is 35. So you say 35 times the combination of 5, 3, which is 10. So our answer will give us 350 ways. This is how the number of ways the selection of this committee are to be done. So dear learners, I believe from these examples you have picked something under combination. So working combination if it is only dealing with one item, and then working for combination if it is dealing with the 2 items. Sometimes even if there are 3, you also do the same way. Get one combination, get the other combination, get the other one, and then you multiply them together to get the final answer. Dear learners, with this I believe you have understood or you have picked something from it. Now I want you to take these questions as your exercise. So take these questions as exercise for yourself. Number one says, in how many selections of 4 books can be made from 9 books? In how many selections? In how many selections can be made? Can be made from? In how many selections of 4 books? Of 4 books can be made? or 4 books can be made from 9 books. 9 books. From 9 books. And then question number 2. Question number 2 says, in how many selections of 4 letters can be made from 6 letters? In how many ways of 4 letters can be selected or made from 4 letters can be made or selected from 6 letters. From 6 letters. From 6 letters. From 6 letters, and the 6 letters of A, B, C, D, E, and F. Least but last, we have, in how many ways can a committee, number 3, in how many ways can a committee of 5 members. Voting for a president. 5 members voting for a president, and 3 members voting for a vice. A vice president B, a vice president be chosen 10 presidents and 8 vice. Eight vice presidents. So, dear learners, take those 3 questions and you try them in your during your free time, that is in your homework, as a homework exercise. With this, dear learners, we have come to the end of this part of combination or our lesson, especially on combination, on how do we work out combination. Remember that combination is any activity or that involves selecting element from a group without taking order into consideration. So when you look at its formula, it's more or less of that one of permutation. But take note that with the combination, the formula goes hand with the ratio of R, and permutation, the ratio is not there. So with this, we have come to the end of our lesson, and I want to wish you the good day. Goodbye for now.